Let's take a look at the Haftorah of this week, Parshat VaYeshev, in the book of Amos. Remember Amos and Andy? Amos, who was a sheep farmer. And on his side job, he was a prophet, or the other way around. Was he a prophet and his side job was a sheep farmer? The book of Amos, chapter 2. See how it ties into the Parshat, and of course how it ties into the current events. You have a book, the book of Amos. It's the Haftorah of Parshat VaYeshev. And God speaking to Amos, he lived during the first temple period. He prophesied against the 10 tribes. First temple period. Kayamar Hashem. Thus says Hashem, Al Shloishe Pishe Yisrael, for 3 transgressions of Israel, God says, I've looked away. V'al arba, but for the 4th transgression, lo yashivenu, I will not pardon them. Al michram b'kesef tzadik, because they sold the tzaddik for money. The evyoin babu na'alayim, and they sold the tzaddik for money, and they sold the poor person for what? For a pair of shoes. So first of all, what is this prophecy about? What's it talking? For the 3 cardinal sins, God, the 3 cardinal sins, God said, I'm willing to what? Look away and pardon. The 3 cardinal sins, avodah zarah, gili arai, tzichas damim, murder, sexual immorality, and what? Idolatry. God says, for that, I'm willing to pardon. V'al arba, but for the 4th sin, which sin? Of selling a brother for money, for a pair of shoes, for that I'm not willing to overlook.
Right, but he overlooked it with Joseph's brother.
Let's talk. We'll talk, right? Masha, let's talk. What's the pasuk over here talking about? Why? Why is the 4th sin of selling a brother, of sinat chinam, why is that worse than the 3 cardinal sins? And we know it's worse because the first temple was destroyed for the 3 cardinal sins, and that Chorban only lasted how many years? 70. Then they came back and built Bayit Sheni. The second temple was destroyed for Sinat Chinam, and that's not 70 years. That's close to what? 2,000 years. So the Chofetz Chaim wants to know, how is Sinat Chinam worse than the 3 cardinal sins? 3 cardinal sins, the Chorban only lasted 70 years. We came back from Babylon, Long Island, and rebuilt the temple. And the second temple, we didn't do the 3 cardinal sins, we did Sinat Chinam. And that's not 70 years, Avi, that's 2,000 years. Chofetz Chaim wants to know, why is Sinat Chinam worse? The Gemara in Yuma, page 9 tells us that the second temple, they were not doing the 3 cardinal sins. Sinat Chinam, how is Sinat Chinam worse than what? In the 3 cardinal sins? Doesn't seem to make any sense. And that's what the prophet is speaking about over here. For the 3 cardinal sins, the big 3, I'm willing to overlook if they do tshuva. But for the 4th, Sinat Chinam, they sold the tzaddik for money. That's a symptom of Sinat Chinam. Why is that worse? So the Chofetz Chaim explains, because the 3 cardinal sins, who doesn't know it's a sin? Who doesn't know it's a sin? Adultery, you know it's a sin. Paganism, you know it's a sin. The spirit is willing, but flesh is weak. So after 70 years, they did tshuva. They did tshuva, Hashem forgave them, they came back from Babylon. But Sinat Chinam is so destructive, you don't realize it's a sin. Brother Joe, it's a mitzvah to hate him. He's different. He's an instigator. He's no good. His kippah's too small, the wrong color, or no kippah. Sinat Chinam is so destructive because it's self-perpetuating. You don't realize it's a sin. That Jew, it's a mitzvah to hate him. So you'll never do tshuva. The 3 cardinal sins, you know it's wrong. Eventually you do tshuva. But Sinat Chinam, you don't realize it's a sin. You think it's a mitzvah to hate that Jew. He's different than me, like the brothers hated Yosef. So therefore, in a way, Sinat Chinam is even worse because you don't realize it's a sin. Satan tells you it's a mitzvah to hate that guy. And therefore, that's what they said. They figured it's a mitzvah to get rid of Yosef. We'll talk about that, what they thought Yosef was. They accused him of being a Novi Sheker. He's having false dreams that he's going to be their king and leader. A Novi Sheker's Chayiv Mita, they accused him of. Well, why did they buy, Dafka, when they sold Yosef, they bought shoes. Why didn't they buy an iPhone? Or at least a smartphone? Why did they Dafka buy shoes? What? You don't, yeah. So why didn't you buy a suit? I don't know. And why do we have to know that they bought what? Shoes. What's the message? Why do we have to know that, right? So the answer is that what did the Yosef HaTzadik? He dreamed that he's going to be what? Their ruler and master. That's what he dreamed, right? They are going to be his slaves. That's what they dreamed, right? So they accuse him of being a Novi Sheker. You're a false prophet. You're a false prophet. We're not going to be your slaves. You are going to be a slave. In the ancient world, who wore shoes? Only the master wore shoes. Slaves did not wear shoes. You can Google it. In the ancient world, slaves did not wear shoes. Only the master wore shoes. So by buying shoes, they showed Yosef that what? That they're the master, not the slave. He dreamed that he's going to be their master, and they're going to be slaves. So they sold him into slavery, they turned the tables on him, and the Dafke bought shoes demonstrating that they are not the slave, they're a master, because in the free world, the master wore shoes and the slave was barefoot, Avi. Do you know that? So to demonstrate that they're master and not slave, they Dafke bought what? They Dafke bought shoes. According to the Zohar, when did the sale of Joseph take place? On Yom Kippur. And therefore the Zohar says on Yom Kippur, what do? We remove our shoes. You hear this? According to the Zohar, the sale of Joseph took place on Yom Kippur. So as a tikkun, they bought shoes. We have to remove our shoes on Yom Kippurim. So, we still suffer from sinat chinam. Nothing much that's changed, right? They accused Joseph falsely. They hated him. Unfortunately, we still suffer that sinat chinam. If the Jewish people would get rid of sinat chinam, Mashiach would have been here a long time ago. But unfortunately, we still have this sinat chinam. Now, sinat chinam, what does sinat chinam mean? Sinat chinam means hatred for free. What? Chinam means free. Free hatred. Now what does that mean? Make any sense? Hatred for free. What? No, nobody's crazy enough to hate someone with no reason. Right? Even the brothers thought they had a reason, right? Sinat chinam means you hate the guy, but you get nothing in return. It's like having someone you don't like live inside your head for free. Sinat chinam. You hate him. But what good is it? You're obsessed with him. You're having a bad hair day. You're letting a guy you can't stand live inside your head rent-free. Evict him. How do you evict him? Stop hating him. You get nothing in return. So this is the message that we still have not learned. Now, Sunday is Hanukkah. We have a special class, a Hanukkah class at 2 o'clock. We'll speak about Hanukkah, the ongoing miracle of a Jewish state in 48. That's Sunday at 2. But Hanukkah teaches us that we must be proactive. If the Maccabees would not have made the first move, the miracle never would have happened. God waited for us to be proactive. Only when the Maccabees revolted, then did Hashem give them the miracle. God only helps those who help themselves. So therefore, there's a very difficult Rashi, the last Rashi in this week's Parshat. If you look at Genesis 40, the last pasuk in this week's Parsha, VaYeshev 40, pasuk 23. The Sar Amashkim, the butler, did not remember Joseph and forgot him. The last pasuk in the Parsha, VaYeshev 40, verse 23. Yosef said to the Tsar Mashkin, when you get out of here, put in a good word with Pharaoh. He relied on the Sar HaMashkin. And since he relied on the butler, Rashi says he was punished. He got 2 extra years in prison because he relied on the butler instead of Hashem, right? Which I don't understand. Remember a few years back, there was a Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans?
Yes.
There was this chassid that was drowning in the hurricane. He was drowning. A Coast Guard boat came by. He said, buddy, come in, I'll help you. He says, go away, I'm waiting for God to save me. And then a helicopter came and threw him a line, and he said, go away, I'm waiting for God to save me. Then a rowboat came by and said, come buddy, come on, I'll save you. He says, go away, I'm waiting for God to save me. And what happened? The chassid drowned. So he went upstairs and he said, God, I trusted in you. How could you let me down? God said, Verstop the cup. I let you down. Who sent you the Coast Guard? Who sent you the helicopter? Who sent you the rowboat? God works through human agents. What is Rashi picking on Brother Joe for? Because if he lied on the butler, he was condemned to spend the 2 more years in jail. God works through human agent. Secret agent, man. God works through human agents. We have to be proactive. The whole world is a partnership between God and us. So why is Rashi picking on Brother Joe? Rashi's so profound, Shirley, so profound, how the Parsha of the week always speaks to current event. Rashi quotes a pasuk in Psalms 40. Ashrei hagever asher sam Hashem miftacho. Fortunate is the person that makes Hashem his trust. He puts his trust in Hashem. And he doesn't turn to the arrogant and the ungrateful. Who are the Rahavim, says Rashi, al Mitzrim. If the butler was a Puerto Rican or from Thailand or a Vietnamese, no problem. You're going to rely on a Mitzri? You expect a favor from Abu Mamzer? Brother Joe, you're very smart. To rely on Abu Mamzer and our peace partners is worse than doing nothing. You know, Shirley, look how the Parsha is so on target. It's not the problem we relied on a human being. God works through human beings. A Chinaman, Puerto Rican. And if you can't find a person, you're going to rely on an Arab? You expect gratitude from an Arab? They'll always stab you in the back. It's not PC, but tell it like it is. Rashi's not PC. Rashi said the problem is he's a Mitzri. Unfortunately, our fearless leaders are still making gestures and concessions. It won't change anything. It's worse than doing nothing. Look how Rashi is actuality. How do you say that in English? Current events, relevant. Unbelievable. If only our fearless leaders would study the Parsha, we wouldn't have the mess that we're in. Unfortunately, we think that the Torah is ancient history, unfortunately, right? But unfortunately, it's not ancient history, and we have to learn from the mistakes of our forefathers. That's the greatness of the Torah. Other religions invent fantastic lies about their superheroes. Judaism is the only religion that tells it like it is. These are the founders of the Jewish people. They made a terrible sin, and the Torah does not cover it up. It tells it like it is. That's how you know that Judaism is a true religion. There are no cover-ups. The brothers sinned terribly, and we're still paying for it. And there are no cover-ups, even though they were the founders of the Jewish people. There's an incredible, Cholo Wasserman, Zechat Tzadik Evracha, says something incredible. When the brothers sold Yosef, how did they cover up their despicable crime? They slaughtered a goat and they dipped the coat in what? In blood. So to cover up their despicable crime, they dipped Joseph's coat in blood. Says Rav Chona Wasserman, I wouldn't say this on my own, isn't it bizarre that throughout the centuries the Jewish people have been accused of blood libel? Makes no sense. The Jewish people, when there's a drop of blood in an egg, we throw the egg away. We're so careful, Yechiel, not to eat blood. Isn't it bizarre that the Jewish people have been haunted with a blood libel throughout the centuries? Where does it come from? Says Vachona Wasserman, Zecher Tzadik Avracha, by using blood to cover up their evil crime, Midah keneged midah. So therefore we are accused of the crime of what? A blood libel. It's just incredible. Right? Midah keneged midah. The brothers covered up the crime by using blood. Rashi says goat blood looks like human blood. So we are accused that we use blood in our religion because of the founders of Judaism. Their crime still haunts us. Why is that, Avi? Is that fair? Because we still suffer from sinat chinam, unfortunately. Yes?
Yes. I was shocked to see that there are YouTube video stations that have 500,000 hits that are making very well done documentaries. So lest anyone think this is just something from the past.
Right.
There are still things being published. And
accusing the Jews of using blood. In Saudi Arabia a few years ago, they accused the Jews used blood in matzahs. A few years ago, Saudi Arabia. So it's bizarre, but the Chon Vashem said it comes from the sin of Yosef.
More than one, there are thousands of them on YouTube.
What? Of the blood libels, right? The so-called, right, civilized world. Using, now, the Torah goes on and tells us, Yosef HaTzadik was sold. Before he was sold, he's looking for his brothers. He's looking for, the Torah is not a history book, the Torah is God's GPS. What's the message over here? What's the message now? Yaakov knows that the brothers hate Yosef. Why does he send them into the mouth of the lion? Yechiel, does it make sense? I want to have to know about it. Yaakov was a rich man. He had many servants. He could have sent one of the servants to find out how the brother send him a SMS, text mex, smoke signal. You know the brothers hate Yosef. Why are you sending him into the mouth of the lion? You hear the question? And more important, what's the message? Where did he send him? To Shechem. What happened in Shechem? Dina was kidnapped and raped, and the brothers came together. They risked their lives for a sibling. They got rid of their sibling rivalry. They came together for a sibling. Yaakov was hoping against hope that brotherly love that they demonstrated for whom? For Dina, they would demonstrate for Yosef. Shechem, the brothers united. Yaakov was hoping that they would bury the hatchet, not in Brother Joe's back. They would bury the hatchet, but it didn't work out that way. Otherwise, it's very hard to understand why he would send Yosef to Shechem. But Shechem, that's where the brothers united. They risked their lives for a fellow sibling. And Yaakov was hoping against hope, perhaps they would also bury the hatchet against Yosef. But they say that all good intentions, right, don't always work out, right? But it was his intention why he didn't send a servant, even though he had many servants, the Torah testified. Yosef gets lost. A man finds him. If you look at Genesis 37, verse 15, I wonder how the English translate that. Genesis 37, verse 15. A man finds him, he's lost in space. No, he's lost in the field.
The man discovered him, and behold, he was blundering in the field. The man asked him, saying, what do you seek? The
man asked him Lamor. What does Lamor mean? The man asked him to repeat, what are you looking for? The word, Michael, the word Lamor doesn't seem to make any sense here. The man asked him, what are you looking for? It says no. VaYeshev ish Lamor. The man asked him, the word Lamor means to repeat. The man asked him to repeat Ma Tevakesh. What are you looking for? What's the meaning? Torah is not stories.
Where does it say Lamon?
VaYeshev 37, Pasuk Tezvav. You would say, Ish v'hinei Torah basodeh, v'shaleu ish lemor, ma tevakesh. See that, Masha? The man asked him, lemor, ma tevakesh. What's the message? Who was this ish? It was a malach. He's speaking to all of us. Yosef is about to undergo a terrible ordeal. All of us in life undergo terrible ordeals. And we might lose ourselves, God forbid. So the ish, the malach, is speaking to you and me and you, lemor. When you go through hard times in life, and who doesn't, and you feel like you're losing it, keep repeating to yourself, Ma tevakesh. What am I seeking? Keep your eye on the prize. What's the prize? Yechiel, olam haba. Stay focused. We all get curveballs in life. We all go through trying times. In fact, the Ramchal says the reason that we are down here is to be tested and tried only when the going gets tough. Do the tough go shopping? No, do the tough get going? So how do you handle it? Keep repeating lemor, ma tevakesh. What am I looking for? This world is only a prose door. When you realize, you keep repeating, Ma tevakesh, what am I looking for? The end game is olam haba, then all of the trials and tribulations will not make me go off the deep end. I'll make it through because I'm focused, lame. I keep repeating to myself, Ma tevakesh, what am I looking for in life? What am I looking for? Olam haba. Stay focused. This is only a test. Remember that commercial? This is only a test. If you know it's a test, then somehow it makes, but you have to keep repeating to yourself, Ma tevakesh. What am I looking for? Looking for olam haba. Looking for olam haba. So Yosef gets sold, right? He gets sold into Egypt. And we need to know that the wagon train that's carrying down to Egypt is carrying, what's it carrying? In Genesis 37, verse 25. Avi, what's it carrying? You have a book? Genesis 37, verse 25. The Ishmaelite caravan is carrying what? It's Chanel number 5. Remember Charlie? Charlie, what? Pisces, what? What's it called? It's called musk. Musk. Very important, right, Yechiel? I need to know that 3,700 years ago, the Arab caravan taking Brother Joe down to Egypt was carrying Chanel number 5 and musk. Why is that important? Rashi wonders. It seems to be needless information, Chanoch. What's the message? The Torah is not a history book. The Torah is only God's GPS, God's personal system for the year 2016. So Rashi's so profound. Rashi says, normally Arab caravans, they carry petrol and other foul-smelling odors down. Right? But this time Hashem sent a caravan that instead of what? Petrol and other foul-smelling odors, it should have Chanel number 5, so Yosef HaTzadik should not be what? Suffer from the foul odors of petrol. You understand this, Rashi? I don't. Yosef HaTzadik, he's 17 years old. He's being sold to Egypt by his own brothers. He'll never go to see, as far as he knows, he'll never see his beloved father again. His father's already 108 years old. You think he's thinking about good smell, bad smell? What is Rashi talking about? Well, he's thinking about good smell, man. The last thing on his mind was what the caravan is carrying. He has so much sorrows on his mind. He's interested in the good smell, bad smell. What's the point of Rashi? What's the point? Why tell me the cargo? So what's the message? The message is that all pain in life is exactly measured. It's not some cruel happening to Joseph. chance. What Yosef is going through, this ordeal, there's a cheshbon. It's part of God's plan. But the suffering is exactly measured and did not include the extra torment of foul odors. So normally Yosef knows that the caravans carry foul-smelling odor. Pitom now, no petrol, Chanel number 5. Yosef HaTzadik realized that the cargo that they were carrying was a wink from Hashem.
Yeah.
Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah, that he was on the right track.
There's a divine design. This is not some cruel act being perpetrated on me for no reason. There is a plan. I don't know what it is, but the very fact that this caravan that every day of the week carries what? Foul-smelling odor, and just today when I'm sold, is Chanel number 5, means that Hashem is whispering in my ear. Don't lose it, Brother Joe. I'm still with you. There is a plan. In every tsar that we go through, who doesn't? If you listen carefully, you'll hear Hashem's whisper. In the pain and suffering, there's always a whisper in your ear. If you listen carefully, God says, I'm with you. I still love you. There's the plan. I can't share it with you. But remember that TV show called Father Knows Best?
Yes.
With Robert Young?
Yes.
That defines Judaism. The kids didn't know what Papa's doing. Papa looked like he's being cruel. Robert Young. That's Yahadut. Father knows best. Even though we don't. So this was the idea that the Torah is teaching us. When a person suffers, there's always a divine design, and no one suffers an ounce more than he has to, and it's not a punishment. God is not interested in punishing us. It's a tikkun. There's a plan. If Yosef would not have gone through these hard times, he never would have developed the wise ruler that he was. He was a pampered, spoiled teenager. What made him the great leader that saved not just his own family, but the entire Middle East from starvation? It's the hard times. But he didn't know it now. Looking back, he knew it. But he heard God's whisper in his ear. What was the whisper? What happened to petroleum? Chanel number 5. One day, Abu Mamza woke up, but he said, today we're not transporting petroleum. Today, I'm taking Chanel number 5. Hashem's whisper. That's important. That's the message. That God is always with us through the hard times. And we have to go through hard times. What's the purpose? In fact, it says, VaYeshev Yaakov. Yaakov dwelled in the land of Canaan. So Rashi quotes the Midrash, Yaakov wanted to live b'shalva. He figured he suffered enough, so he got hit with the tragedy of Yosef HaTzadik. Abraham and Yitzchak also suffered. But in their old age, they had easy times. So Yaakov said, what am I worse than my father and grandfather? So he wanted to relax, kick off his shoes, and enjoy. So Rashi quotes the Midrash, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, sorry. Shalva, for you, Yaakov, will have to wait until you break on through to the other side. In this world, Yaakov, there is no shalva for you. What does shalva mean? Tranquility base. Remember that? Tranquility base on the moon?
Yes.
What's going on over here? Why can't Yaakov have shalva in this world? Why did tzaddikim have to suffer in this world? Why? We said it's not a punishment. God doesn't have to punish us. It's a tikkun. But the Ramchal says more than that. It's such a beautiful world. And only b'shvili nivra olam. The Mishnah in Sanhedrin 37 says the entire beautiful world with the starry night and the Swiss Alps, Niagara Falls is such a beautiful, delicious world. Was created for whom?
Man.
For whom? Me. Bishvili nivra olam. Sanhedrin 37. The whole universe with everything in it, this beautiful world, created only for me. Only for me to enjoy. And we have to enjoy the world. Right? You have to enjoy the world. When you see a beautiful, magnificent sight, you make a bracha. Niagara Falls, the Swiss Alps. You make a bracha. You're supposed to enjoy the world. So you might think, is that all there is? Is that all there is? Such a beautiful world, you might forget that this world, with all of its beauty, is only a prozor. How do you say that in English? A corridor. Ramchal says that suffering is not a punishment, it's a wake-up call. It's a reminder, don't get too attached to the beauty of this world. Because we're not here that long, and this world is not the end game, it's only the warm-up, the bullpen, before you pitch in the major leagues. So this is the great dichotomy, VaYeshev. It's a paradox. On the one hand, you're supposed to enjoy the world. Judaism teaches, go for it. Enjoy the world as much as you can, and make a bracha for all the delicious food and delicious sight. But on the other hand, you have to realize that what? That this is not the end game. So life is a balancing act. It's like you're walking on the tightrope. Enjoy the world, appreciate the world. On the other hand, don't lean over too much on the other side and think that what? There's nothing beyond the grave. This is it. So suffering is a wake-up call to appreciate the world, but to realize that we're here only temporarily. The real fun begins, Yochanan, the real fun begins in Olam Haba. So suffering, let's not be in a hurry to get there, right? But the suffering is a reminder, says the Ramchal, that true shalva, true fun and pleasure begins after we die. You have to enjoy this world as much as we can. I told you the story of Shamshir Full Hirsch. I told you the story. The great tzaddik, he never stopped studying Torah. Never. One day he closes his books. He says to his students, I'm off to see the Swiss Alps. They said, Rebbe, you're going on vacation. You never close the books. You study day and night. All of a sudden you tell us you're closing the Gemara, you're going to see the Swiss Alps. He says, I tell you, I'm an old man and I feel my end is near. After I die, I'm going to face HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He'll say, Shimshon, what do you think of my Swiss Alps? I made them just for you. What do you think of them? What am I going to say? I didn't see him. I have to go and see him. Judaism teaches to enjoy the world, to tour the world, to appreciate the goodness of the world. And yet what? Don't leave over to each other side and think that this is all there is. Right? So Yisurim is not a punishment, it's a wake-up call to focus on what? On Olam Haba. Focus on Olam Haba. So that's one of the lessons of the Parsha. Of the Parsha over here. So, the brothers sell Yosef, a terrible sin. The sale took place when? On Yom Kippur. So therefore we what? Take off our shoes on Yom Kippur because they bought shoes. And the Zohar Kodesh says something, the main service of Yom Kippur is done with what? Goats. You know, Yehuda? There's a goat LaShem and a goat LaZozel. Scapegoat. The main service of Yom Kippur, says the Zohar, because the brothers covered up their crime using what? A goat blood. We have to use goat's blood on Yom Kippur. One goat goes to the Beis Hamikdash. The blood is sprinkled what on the altar, and the other goat is pushed over the cliff. So long, sucker. It's to atone for the sin of Yosef. Sale. Now, in other words, we're still perpetuating that destructive behavior. I mean, current events in the city of Arad. Jew against Jew, the Ger Hasidim with the other Hasidim, it's terrible. Even from Jews, it doesn't make any sense that destructive behavior, self-destructive behavior, sinat chinam, we're still suffering for it, from it.
That's when you say you get my goat.
Get my goat, right? You say you get my, right? Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. So, the Torah interrupts. So Yosef is sold down to Egypt. The Torah interrupts, time out, and gives me the story of Yehuda and Tamar. Yehuda and Tamar. Tamar seduces Yehuda, and then the Torah goes back. Oh, by the way, Yosef went down to Mitzrayim. Why does the Torah interrupt the Yosef sale with the story of Yehuda and Tamar? Very strange, no, Chanoch? Very strange. Time out. Yosef is sold to Egypt, we're put on hold. All of a sudden, we have the story where Tamar seduces Yehuda, and they have twins, right? And then the Torah says, oh, by the way, I forgot something. We're going back to what? Yosef down to Egypt. What's the message? Why interrupt the Yosef sale with the story of Yehuda and Tamar? Before Yosef arrives in Egypt, the first galut is about to begin. Remember, God told Abraham, there's going to be a galut. Your kids will go down. Didn't say Egypt. But this is about to begin. Yosef arrives and the brothers come. The first galut is about to begin. The way God operates. The refuah always comes before the makkah. The first galut is about to begin with Yosef going down to Egypt. So before we hear that, we have to know that there's going to be a final galut and a final geula, that there'll be a final redemption through whom? Mashiach. Who does Mashiach come from? Sarah. Yehuda and Tamar. Through this act of seduction, very strange, Avi. Through this act of seduction, Mashiach is born. Peretz. One of the twins that Yehuda fathers with Tamar is Peretz. He's the grandfather of what? Of the Messiah. So here God operates. Whenever there's a tsar lo yaleinu, you have to know that the refuah is already what?
On the way.
On the way.
And his name is Peretz, which means to break on through.
Peretz means break on through to the other side. That's what it means. Isn't that amazing how God operates? Before Yosef arrives in Mitzrayim to begin the first galut, we have the origin of the Mashiach in Yehuda and Tamar, who will end the final galut. Mashiach will come to end the final galut, so that's already planted before even the first galut begins. That's the way God operates. The refuah, the cure is already prepared, what? Before the plague. So we have to know in life, when we suffer, the cure is already there. Sometimes you see it here, most of the times we'll see it what? In Olam Haba. But this is the message, this is the way what? God operates.
Rabbi Sprecher,
Yes?
you know, when Yehuda brings the Joseph's coat covered in blood to Yaakov,
Right?
Yehuda says, V'hakerna.
Right.
And when Tamar brings...
The same thing.
She says, also,
Recognize. Recognize, right, these signs?
But
But isn't it strange that the Mashiach has to be conceived in such a, how do you say, nishain? How do you say that? That kind of shameful way. Yehuda seduced, he thinks that she's a prostitute. Does a nice Jewish boy go to a prostitute?
No.
So the Rambam says Yehuda was not a Jewish boy. We forget that. Keep the 7, go to heaven. A non-Jew is no problem going. A non-Jew is allowed to go to a prostitute. Yehuda, we forget. There was no such thing as Judaism until what? Har Sinai.
Right.
Keep the 7, go to heaven. Right? But why did God have to orchestrate it such a bizarre way? Huh? Don't you think it's strange that the Melech HaMashiach is conceived through an act of seduction? He thinks that she's a harlot. Sounds very bizarre, don't you think, Yechiel? What's the message?
We don't know everything.
What's the message?
We don't know.
We don't know. So let me give you One explanation. Of course, there's 70. Let me give you one. Mashiach is going to save all mankind, not just the Jewish people.
That's right.
Look, in all the prophets, Mashiach will save all mankind. Not just the elite, not just the people with big yichus. Mashiach himself has to come from humble beginnings, because he will have to identify and redeem all of humanity, not just the tzaddikim. So he himself has to know what it's like, first of all, to keep him humble. To keep him humble. The Melech HaMashiach, check me out. I'm a superstar. How does the Mashiach remain humble? Skeletons in the closet. To keep him humble, and also to identify with people that are not what?
Like everything else.
Right?
That's what
Mashiach
you do.
will have to redeem everybody, even people from low backgrounds.
Can't get any more humble than that.
That's the message. Teach humility, not to get a swollen head, because you have skeletons in your closet. And the same thing with David HaMelech, the story with David and Bathsheba, Solomon was born. All of this idea is to keep the leaders humble, and also to teach humility, and to teach that no matter what a person's low beginnings, you can't blame it on your family. No matter where you come from, it's up to you to make it. Peretz, Tamar, you have to make your own life. You can't say, I was born on the wrong side of the tracks. The devil made me do it. Despite humble beginnings, King David became King David, and Shlomo HaMelech, and Peretz, and Zorach. Every person, it's up to him. He can't pass the buck and blame it what? Society, the parents. It's up to your life to make it or break it. Ruth. What was Ruth? Ruth was a go-go dancer in Moab.
Yeah.
And yet she became the grandmother of the Messiah. She could have said, there's no hope for me. I'll never get out of the discotheque. But no, every person has to decide his own fate. Doesn't matter who his parents are, who his grandparents are. It's up to you to make your life what you want it to be. And then the Torah tells us something very strange. When he finds out who she really is, right? Look at Genesis 38, verse 26. Genesis 38, verse 26. Yehuda recognized the signs, right? And she said that she's more righteous than me because I didn't give her to my son Shelah. And it says he no longer, how do the English say that, Sarah?
He was not intimate with her.
He was no longer intimate with her anymore, right?
Just that one time.
That's what it says? How do the English say, Sam?
He had no further relations with him.
With her. Why should I care? Michael, Torah is GPS. Why should I care whether he continued to be intimate with her or not, Yechiel? The Torah only tells me what I need to know for the year 2017. Rashi makes a strange comment, Sam. Rashi says there are two opinions in the Talmud. One says he never stopped being intimate with her. He couldn't keep his hands off of her. And the other opinion says Moshe Kapoya. How do you say that in English? Just the opposite, right? He what? He never was intimate with her. He had nothing to do with her again. Michael, I'm mixed up here. When there are two opinions in the Talmud, they have to be what? Both correct.
Both correct.
Remember, Shammai said this, Hillel said that. Heavenly voice came out and said, Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim chayim. These and those, Sarah, are both what? Words of the living God. So how could Rashi quote two opinions in the Talmud totally opposite? One says that he was never intimate with her again, and the other says, forget about it. He never stopped being intimate with her. Yechiel, how can they be both right? And we know they're both right because God told us in Erevin, page 13, when two sages disagree in the Talmud, Elu ve'elu divrei Elohim chayim. What does that mean, Shelley?
Both right.
They're both right. How can they both be right? You're also right. Fasten your seatbelts, Avi, for this one. The Torah is not a history book. I sound like a broken record. The Torah is GPS, God's personal system. Chos and Kala, under the chuppah, they break a glass. Everybody knows the reason, right?
Yes.
Now, Soloveitchik says, what's the real reason? Under the chuppah, lovey-dovey, starry eyes. You can't wait to be alone in the yichud room. But you have to know there's going to be broken glasses down the road, said Rav Soloveitchik. Who wrote the book? Men Are From Venus? Mars? Women Are From Mars?
Men are from Mars.
Thank you. Said the great Rav Soloveitchik. Under the chuppah, where they're so madly in love with each other, you break the glass. It's not going to be lovey-dovey all the time. There'll be broken glasses and dishes. Because when two people get married, husband and wife, there's bound to be friction. I hate to burst your bubble. Who said that? I think I just did. You burst the bubble under the chuppah. There's going to be broken glasses. So what? Since we love each other, we'll get by the hard times. But there's going to be hard times. And this pasuk tells me, Yehuda and Tamar, sometimes they felt they couldn't get enough of each other. They couldn't keep his hands off each other. And other times they felt, I can't stand you. I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. That's the way it is in every marriage. What a lesson. Sometimes you can't get enough of each other. And sometimes you feel like you can't stand each other. But you're going to make the best of it. Since we love each other, we're committed to each other, we'll make the best of it. And this is the message over here, how both sages are right. Sometimes Yehuda and Tamar felt that they couldn't get enough of each other, and other times they felt that what? They cannot stand each other. It's not them only. If it was only them, Sarah wouldn't be in the Torah. It's you and me and you. It's a lesson for life.
Were they ever again together after that one time?
Are you listening to me? I just told you that there are two opinions, Masha. And they're both right, but you're not listening to me, Masha.
Talmud.
What does the English say?
So black and white, they were not intimate with anymore.
Yes, but
Not
Rashi.
intimate with her anymore.
But Rashi quotes the Talmud. One opinion is that they never stopped being intimate. So I'm saying, Yechiel, they're both right. Because in every marriage, there is both of these, what? Feelings, right? That's the way it is. That's the way it is.
I got a bad headache.
Husband and wife, there's bound to be friction. There has to be.
Bad headache.
Huh?
Bad headache day.
Not tonight, I have a headache, right? Okay? What a powerful message. What a powerful message.
Rashi said that?
Rashi doesn't make it up. Rashi quotes the Talmud. Whatever Rashi says, he's quoting the Talmud, right? But what a powerful message. In every marriage, there's this feeling. Every single marriage, right? Now, the Torah goes on and tells us that what? Tells us that Yosef was a slave in Egypt. Genesis 39, Pasuk 2. And he was an Ish Matzliach. You hear? Genesis 39, 2. Joseph was a slave in the house of the Mitzri. To be a slave in Egypt, how low can you go? To be a slave in ancient Egypt? You're scraping the bottom of the barrel, Elisheva. And the Torah calls him Ish Matzliach. What does that mean? Ish Matzliach means Donald Trump. Or who else does it mean? Huh?
The new one, the new Secretary of Leo.
Oh, Rex Tillerson. Ish Matzliach, we think you have billions of dollars in the bank. You're an Ish Matzliach. But the Torah does not define success the way we do. Not by the size of your bank account or how much real estate holdings you have. A person could be a slave in a dungeon and be ish matzliach. Matzliach, how you success in life. How does the Torah define success in life? How? Aleph Bet, Shirley. Aleph stands for emunah, and Bet stands for bitachon. Not the size of your bank account or your stock holdings or your real estate holdings. The Torah defines ish matzliach, Aleph Bet. Since Yosef never lost his Aleph Bet, what does Aleph mean? Emunah. What does Bet mean? Bitachon. You can be a ish matzliach, a successful person in a dungeon. How to succeed in life. How to succeed in life? If you don't lose your Aleph Bet, Banish, Emunah Bitachon, you're successful even in a dungeon in Egypt.
Yeah, but he was successful being a slave where he
A
was.
successful slave. Oh, my son the doctor, my son the lawyer, my son the slave. Pretty interesting, right? So even when he was a slave, he didn't sulk because he never lost his Aleph Bet. Emunah Bitachon. Now, what's the difference between Emunah Bitachon? Anybody know? Emunah means what?
Faith.
What does Bitachon mean? Trust. There are no synonym buns in Hebrew. There are no synonyms, Avi. You know Hebrew better than me. What? Emunah? Bitachon? Security and trust. How do they differ? They have to differ. There are no synonyms in Hebrew. Emunah means I believe whatever happens to me in life. The Talmud Nechulim, page 7 says, no one has a bad hair day or stubs his toe unless God ordained it. That's emunah. Whatever happens to me, from the smallest disappointment to the greatest suffering, whatever happens, I believe it's all God. That even what's bad stuff all comes from Him. Bitachon means I believe not just whatever happens to me comes from God, but even what I think is bad, I have bitachon that somehow it's good. See, bitachon is higher. Emunah, I believe whatever happens to me comes from God. Even the bad stuff, it all comes from Him. Bitachon is a higher level. Even the stuff that I think is bad, I trust Him that Father knows best. To me, it looks bad. But I trust Him that it's really good. I don't see it. But I trust Him that what I think is bad somehow will turn out good. If I won't see it now, I'll definitely see it what? Later. You can pay me now, or you can pay me later. That's the difference, Shirley, between emunah and bitachon. Bitachon is a higher level, right? So if you live like that, your life has to be a success. That Father knows best, even though I can't see it. Right? I can't see
There are
it.
people who go through life.
Right?
And that's all they say, it's Parshat.
It is Parshat.
They never
Hakol b'dei Shemayim.
have Bechira.
Yeah, bechira, to be a tzaddik harasha. Right? The only thing left up to us is to be a tzaddik harasha. Everything else is controlled by God. Of course you have to make ishtadlut. But in the end, everything that happens to you is controlled by God. The only thing that's left up to you is what? To be a tzaddik harasha. You got the whole world in your hand to be a tzaddik harasha. But everything else is controlled by God. Of course, a person is obligated to try to better himself. But in the end, you have to know that Hashem controls all events. So you have to have bitachon. That in every perceived evil, to us it looks evil, there has to be what? Some good. has to be some good. In fact, that's the whole Jewish religion. Shema Yisrael. The whole Jewish religion in one sentence, Chanoch. This is Judaism. Listen, Israel. Who are you talking to? The guy in the mirror. Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei. What does Yud Kei Vav Kei mean? Lovey-dovey. Yud Kei Vav Kei means the good times. What's Elokeinu? Din. Suffering. So to us it looks like it's what? Sometimes God wears this hat. Sometimes he wears that hat. Hashem Echad. Hashem Echad. From our perspective, it looks like sometimes God is lovey-dovey and sometimes he's a strict judge. And he wants me to see it that way. But from his perspective, Hashem Echad. What does Hashem mean? It's all lovey-dovey. Can I see it? No. So therefore, when I say Shema, what do? I cover my eyes. I believe it, but I don't see it. You gotta believe. Who said that? But I can't see it. So I cover my eyes. But Zechariah 14 tells us, Vayoimahu, Yiyeh Hashem Echad, Ushemo Echad. On that day, God's name will be one and he'll be one. Now he's not one? What do you mean he will be? Zechariah 14. On that day, God will be one and his name one. Now he's not one? We can't see his oneness now. We see Abu Mamzer, we see suffering and sorot. We can't see his oneness. But by Yoimahu, at the end of time, looking back from the perspective of eternity, we'll see how even what we thought is what Elokeinu is really what? Hashem Echad. You gotta believe. Sunday at 2 o'clock, we have a shir on Hanukkah, how the miracle of Hanukkah is contained in the Jewish state in 48. The ongoing miracle, Sunday at 2 o'clock.